everyone, my name is Jason from GameRave.com, and this is the final episode of GameRaveTV for 2016. It's okay. With the Living History Project now into the year 1997, we finish off 2016 discussing the 10 best games of the PlayStation's 1996 era. Every system's sophomore year is the defining year. By that year's Christmas, you know where your system stands against the competition and the third-party publishers. With the original PlayStation, however, Sony threw its hardest punches yet with excellent first-party support, explosive third-party support, new IPs, and sequels to their best-selling games. Sony's publishing moves had guaranteed that the PlayStation's domination of every genre you can throw at it. Between securing the American publishing rights to SNK's library, essentially locking out the Sega Saturn's only saving grace, to snagging the unique releases from ArtDink that will pave the way for fresh IP and curiosity seekers. On top of that, their arrangement with Psygnosis meant that even more unique content was headed to the big gray box. This foundation of agreements undoubtedly proved to be the final nail in the American Saturn's coffin and reduced the Nintendo 64 to a second-tier fun machine. Sony also finally listened to their customer base and officially moved to jewel case releases instead of the long boxes, which I am forever thankful for because otherwise I'd be out of a home. Let's get started. This time we'll present the top 10 games in the order of their importance and impact.
10.
Hard Trilogy. A movie game? On the list? Are you kidding me? Hell no, my friend. Hard Trilogy was not only one of the biggest surprises of 1996 thanks to its great action and variety, but it proved just how far you could take a system's hardware. Hard 2's light gun mode, in which freaking everything and anything could be shot, destroyed, wounded, blown up, mercy killed, or just plain sniped, was something never seen before in light gun games. Still one of the best guilty pleasures and complete package games ever released to console. It also meant that if you were willing to invest the time and energy, even a licensed game could be something phenomenal.
9.
Twisted Metal 2. Proving you're not a one-trick pony can be one of the hardest acts of a video game publisher or developer. And with Twisted Metal 2's release, Sony and SingleTrack made it absolutely clear that both the PlayStation and Twisted Metal were both here to stay. With the obvious upgrades in graphics and gameplay, the real selling point is the new lighter side added to the game's dark humor. Real-world locations didn't hurt either. The Twisted Metal series ended up creating an entire subgenre of car combat games on the PlayStation for years to come.
8.
Tenpin Alley. Right now, at least 10 of you just went, a bowling game? And at least one of you fist pumped. That's right, Tenpin Alley snags the 8th spot on the list because it defied all logic and reason. Hiding beneath colorful characters and a wacky presentation was the single greatest physics engine ever seen in a bowling game. Providing excellent pin action, proper sideboard and pit logistics, and best of all, actual changing lane conditions, nothing could have made a bowling fan happier. The series would eventually evolve into the Brunswick Pro Bowling series, which to this day has never been topped by a modern-era bowling game. We Resort came close.
7.
Street Fighter Alpha. After a dismal launch era with the divisive Street Fighter the movie, Capcom had some serious egos to repair. While it was fairly clear that Tekken 1 and Darkstalkers could provide excellent arcade experiences, Alpha showed you could have a damn near 2D perfect port and be granted amazing extras like Dramatic Battle Mode and Practice Mode. Sure, the Sega Saturn version got extra colored shadows, but I'm okay with the PlayStation release.
6.
Suikoden. Talk about making it the last possible second. The last game released for the year also gets the nod as one of the most influential games to come out. After the ho-hum Beyond the Beyond, the arguably niche Persona, and the misunderstood but still hard to get into Kingsfield games, Suikoden provides the perfect voice of Japanese RPGs in the West. Easy to jump into, lots of characters to find, and a very nice storyline will eventually pave the way for a flood of Japanese RPGs stateside, including the monster Final Fantasy VII.
5.
Tekken II. If Street Fighter Alpha proved that PlayStation can do 2D games proper, then Namco's Tekken 2 was the reminder that it can tackle anything the rest of the arcade room can throw at it. Namco continued to pry every last ounce of power out of the system, with more modes, more secrets, and more excellent ports. It would also signal the first time actual arcade-quality joysticks would become a viable American mainstream retail product.
4.
Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. If Suikoden was the Japanese RPG foothold we'd all been waiting for, then Blood Omen was the Western advancement into the genre. Whittled down to my favorite nickname for it, Mature Legend of Zelda, Blood Omen was proof that deep storylines, professional-grade voice acting, and massive exploration could be achieved by any developer, regardless of locale. While Blood Omen would go on to create some of the most memorable sequels in the era, you cannot deny the power of the original that it had over its gleefully captive audiences.
3.
Crash Bandicoot. During the 16-bit era, Nintendo's Mario and Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog were the most widely recognized mascots in gaming history. While the TurboGrafx 16 had bonk, most people wouldn't recognize them today. Naughty Dog, who you younger folk know as the Uncharted and Last of Us developers, was tasked with creating a Mario rival for the PlayStation. Their creation was Crash Bandicoot, a mascot with a goofy look, a wink in his eye, and some pretty darn impressive but not quite full 3D gameplay. The game, of course, was a huge hit and eventually opened the floodgates for other mascots to join the PlayStation camp, like Spyro, Medieval, the return of Gex in 3D, and more.
2.
Tomb Raider. Our top 3 games of the year are all groundbreakers, but let's be honest, our second place series is just as groundbreaking today as it was when it launched in 1996. Good old Tomb Raider. Originally a Saturn exclusive, the genre-bending adventures of Lara Croft opened up the world to a strong lead female that really hadn't been seen since Samus Aran, even though Jill Valentine would qualify despite not being allowed on the cover of her own game. Laura's clearly designed by a guy look aside, Laura proved herself capable of white-knuckle gameplay, perfect use of atmospheric music, and puzzle solving were just as awesome in a woman's world as it is in a guy's.
1.
Resident Evil. Survival horror. It's a phrase you hear all the time now, but really didn't during the early days of gaming. That's probably because Capcom's original entry into the series pretty much put survival horror classification on the map. With a tense control system, spooky sound effects, and jump scare camera angles, and of course, B-movie quality dialogue, the original Resident Evil covered every horror base perfectly. From here, games like Silent Hill, Overblood, Echo Night, and more all followed its bloody footprints. On top of that, thanks to the speedrun secret items and replay value in Jill's alternate playthrough, the game opened up all new avenues of challenges for gamers to create themselves, way before the concept of Let's Plays and Twitch speedrunning. Remember, one gamer's VHS cassette sent to Capcom showing he beat the entire game with just the knife is why we have Tofu in Resident Evil 2. Alright guys, that does it for 1996. We're already near March 1997 in the Living History posts and have finally started adding demos to the site. As usual, we continue the march to a full site and the final game release in the Living History project about 7 years from now. Have a great and safe New Year's, guys. As always, have a great weekend. A huge shout out and thank you to all of my new subscribers and new followers on Twitter and so forth. As always, guys, any questions, comments, or concerns, post below, hit me up on the social media websites, or just email me at GameRave.com. We'll see you guys next week and in the new year. Have a great one.